classes of your students. जिसमें lice in the hair is also important. Whether the parents are positive towards it or not, we are not concerned. Our school policy is that if a child will have lice or nicks in her hair, she will be sent home and parents will be told to use this, whatever sprays or medicines are available for it, and not come to class with the time her hair, because आपको पता है एक बच्चे का होता है सारी क्लास का होता है. So when your branch heads take their orientation with the parents, this is one of the things that must be brought to their knowledge of the parents. Okay, this is our policy. Children who are sick should not be entertained in the school with mumps, measles, वगैरह, whatever, because parents are totally ignorant. आपने अपने parents को भी educate करना, अपने students को भी educate करना. You have double responsibility. ठीक है? Good luck to you all. Start now.
Requirement that we have been teaching phonics to our children, that had not been fulfilled up till now. So we got a chance, so we just discussed and made our own syllabus. So I will expect a lot of participation from you, because I'm going to ask you questions. Why? Because you are going to conduct all these lessons that have been mentioned in this week-wise syllabus. So I want your answer that what is phonics and why do we need to include it as a separate subject? What are phonics? Sound. Which sound? Alphabet. Okay, we had a session last year also. How many of you were there? Can you please raise your hand high? A lot of people. So if you remember, we talked about alphabets, letters. Does anyone remember?
Yes.
What?
It was fully alphabet.
Fully alphabet? Can anyone elaborate letters? What are the letters? What is the difference between letters and alphabet?
When we are talking about the complete set, these are alphabets, and when we are talking about the single one, this is called letters.
All of them are alphabet.
Okay, A, B, C, D till Z. They are all letters individually.
Yes.
When you put them together, it's 6 letters, then that set of letters is called alphabet. Right? So since it is one set that we are talking about of English language, so it's alphabet. If we bring in Urdu, Arabic, other Persian, other sets of letters, then we will call them, since we have more than one set, then it will be alphabets. So alphabets, usually we don't use alphabets, it's alphabet. So every element of that set is a letter. So please stop calling A as an alphabet, B as an alphabet. It is a letter. And they have their separate sounds. Okay. So why do we need to teach phonics?
Blending of sound.
Blending sound. Right.
Better pronunciation, that is the end definitely.
Exactly. To help the children, because English is not our language, it is the second language that we are teaching. Even look at Urdu, which is the first language, but still children find it very difficult to read unless they have learned all the letters, all the sounds, Adi Ashkal, Hari Huruf, unko jodna, do huruf banana, teen huruf banana. So it takes a lot of time. Same goes with the English. And English is more problematic. Why? Because they are not listening. They are not used to listen to the words. At most of the houses, homes, this is not the practice that the parents are talking to their children in English. So they are not familiar with these words. That's why it becomes more problematic for a teacher to teach English concepts. So 26 letters are there in English alphabet, but there are over 40 sounds, over 40. Why I'm saying over, not 42? Some people say there are 44 sounds, some make a set of 42 sounds, but altogether it's over 40 sounds. Both for vowels and consonants. Vowels are more problematic, and this we need to tell to our children also, because it is vowels that are playing naughty all the time, right? So whenever you teach vowels, whenever you teach alphabet, the senior teachers are also here. So what we have planned that we will start phonics in junior Montessori as well. We are not giving a separate period in junior Montessori. We are just focusing to give at least 5 minutes or 10 minutes. If not daily, then twice a week. Then gradually you can increase the time by looking at the responses of the students. Okay? So how you have to do? You have to make the children repeat, and individual responses of the children. So they will practice all the letters individually, the sounds in junior Montessori. Then in senior Montessori also, we are going to do the same practice with the focus on initial sounds, middle sounds, and ending sounds, because middle sound is more problematic. You must have experienced that. So on the basis of this thing, that on this assumption that since children are done with all the sounds in junior and senior Montessori, I'm going to focus on your advanced Montessori mainly. Okay? Because they are just for our knowledge, because sometimes we need to look for some resource material or internet or in books, and there you may find these terms. I'm not going to give you very difficult terms, the basic terms. One of the basic terms, okay. Number one is phoneme. Have you ever heard this word? Because in OPE, this word has been used. Phoneme. So what is a phoneme?
It's the smallest sound, the smallest unit.
Yes. One single sound, the smallest sound or sound. One letter, one sound. The sound that a letter gives is phoneme. Then the next term is grapheme. This is also mentioned in OPE. So what is a grapheme? Grapheme. You have been digraphed to students. Digraph. Grapheme. There is a link between these two. So how did you explain digraph? Two letters, one sound. So why did you use the word letter while explaining digraph? It's a clue. Graph is from grapheme, which means letter. The basic form of the letter, the way we write it. So letters are graphemes and the sounds they produce are phonemes. Digraph, as you said, that 2 letters, 1 sound. Can we say 3 letters, 1 sound for digraphs?
No.
Why? Di means 2. So after that we come to trigraph. This means tri means 3 and graph means letters. So you can come across this also, but this is very rare that you will have to study this at this level. Split digraph. Ever heard of it? Yes, somebody said yes. Nobody said yes. No. No, okay. Split means broken, break, digraph. Since digraph is composed of 2 letters, it means that the 2 letters are split, they are broken, they are divided by putting in something. Right? So that's why we call it split. And what do we put in between? 2 vowels and there's 1 consonant in between that divides them. So that's why we call it split digraph. As you can see here, A, E, make, make. So how you are going to say this word with phonics? You would say, can you tell me? Yes, because if you can see, I have just joined A and E through this bridge or whatever you say. So that when you say after that A, and at the end you have to say Normally we call it a silent E or magical E. So for children, I think it's better to keep using these terms. Silent E, magical E, because they will not understand about the split diagram. This is for your knowledge, right? There are so many things that we need the teachers to know so that their concepts are clear while explaining anything to their children. This is another example of the split diagram or the magical E.
Yes.
Can you say any word? Hope,
Lake is there.
sorry? Soap is short form. Bone, joke. So you know it already. Whole. So we are going to say the sounds again in the same way. Like if it's whole, we will say whole. Another term is blends that we have already done in the last session. Blends mean blend, mix up. So when you mix up different sounds, it's a blend. But the difference between digraph and blend is, what is the difference?
In blends we can have two different sounds and we will be able to listen to both the sounds individually, but in digraph it gives a new sound.
Yes. In digraphs we have a new or one sound by combining two sounds or two letters, but in blends we can hear individual sounds. It's sort of scientific as well, because if you know mixture and solution, if you have read that, in mixture all the components can easily be separated. In solution they are dissolved into each other. So the same is with the blends. Now this looks a little horrifying because I'm going to talk about some technical things, but not in very detail. I'll quickly go through them just to ensure that you understand why are we teaching phonics. The basic purpose of teaching phonics is to help the children read independently, accurately and fluently. So how we will reach that stage of fluency, accuracy, independence, so that we just give a text or something to the child to read and he or she is able to read, even if it's something new for him. Okay, so the first stage is, which we already do in junior Montessori, letter sounds. Phonics, we start phonics with letter sounds. Like this, we represent sounds in slashes. So when we write A like this, it means that we are not referring to the letter A, we are referring to the sound Yes, because in the beginning we just introduced the basic sound. We are not going into the difficult one. Then and I hope you all pay attention to this sound, that nothing in your mouth touches, no part of your mouth touches when you say the sound of W. It's After that comes the stage in which we introduce or start introducing two-letter word families, which are done at senior Montessori level towards the end of the session, right? So why we do that? So that children know how to blend. After that, they have only learned about these individual sounds, but now they know how to join these two-letter, and along with two letters, we quickly introduce three-letter words. For example, at. So how do we introduce this letter family? What is the sound of A? At. It's not a. Right? At. Repetition is very important. They know that A sounds as A, they know that T sounds as T. But now we are doing something different. So you have to repeat it many times. So one letter, two-letter word family in a day, not more than that. So you can use the technique that normally teachers do, like blending, doing it on your arms. What I do is use my hands like a robot. Gradually start bringing the hands closer. Why I find it more effective? Because with hands, the children are also following the instructions that our hands are giving. Because body is very important. Body language is important. So when they say that I'm saying and then I'm moving my hands like this, it means I'm asking them, I'm telling them or guiding them to bring the sounds together. So we will automatically start blending. Whenever I will start doing it, they themselves will do it. I will not have to repeat the sound. So it's at, or you may put dots over here, may put an arrow here, and then use a pointer to explain how it flows from left to right. After they have learned, this is one example of two-word families. At, and, if, on, up, as many families as you can at Senior Montessori. What we do, then we go to the three-letter words. So the problem that arises at this point is, we have told them that this is the sound of these letters, at. But when we introduce three-letter words, we just forget that we have taught them that these two letters give the sound at, or n, or ig, or ip. We segment them individually, and that again creates the same problem that we had in the beginning while we were explaining the two-letter word families. So what do I mean? Let me explain. This is the word bat. We know this is bat. So how will you explain it to your children? How will you help the children to read it? Anybody? Can you do it one by one? Can you do the hands, please? Yes.
If they're already familiar with at, we can start by telling them the sound of letter B first and then ask them to join them.
Exactly. Since they have learned at. So we will not tell them it's b at. No, don't do that. Just say b at bat or b at bat. Now this is something different. We have not taught all the family. Normally we don't do that. But you have to find out all the possible two-letter word families towards when the second term starts. So you have to enlist all these words yourself. We have not specified it in the syllabus, so you have to do it. And if you feel that we should give you the list, we can do that also. But since it's not required now, so we are not into that. So make a list of all the possible word families. The best way to help the child to read is that you make the child able to find out smaller words inside a word. Smaller words inside a word. Either it's three-letter word, four-letter word, or even longer words. So you have to help the child to develop this habit, and it's very effective. I have done it with my children, and they really read very fluently. So, like here, d, o, g. Even if you have not taught og earlier, you can do it now, because you will bring in different words later. First, you have to deal with the already taught things. When they know how to handle, then you will bring in the different thing. So after you are done at and etc., then you can bring this word to decode, to read. So if a child is saying d, o, g, perfectly fine, no problem. So you have to guide. You say, okay, yes, you are right. It's d, o, g, d, o, d, o. Now you have to give a pause after every sound that you want to separate. So when I say D, O, G. Two pauses. Now I will reduce the duration of pause as well as the number of pauses. How? D, O, G, D, O, G, D, O, G, D, O, dog, dog. And the child himself or herself will start reading in this way. This is important, that's why I spent so much time on it. Then, again the same thing, segmenting, blending, but now we will look for more difficult words. Not very difficult, but like this simple diagram. Okay, now simple diagrams, we don't refer to H brothers because they're not simple. The simple diagrams are the double letter. The double letters. One more thing that you can call these diagrams or blends teams, friends. You can, because maybe the child is not ready to understand this term at this level. So you can use any term that you feel that your child has understood. Later you can replace that term with the accurate exact term. Double F. Children are in the habit of saying every letter when they are spelling out a word. So if they see this, they will say B-I-double-F or B-A. Which we need to tell them that whenever you see this kind of team, this kind of pair or friends, you are not going to separate them. Let them be friends. Let them be friends. And a team, then they will be strong. Or any way that you can make it interesting for your children. So you will say the. But before going to words, first you have to show to them different flashcards or different maybe writing repetition. Show different double F, double G, then double S is very common. Not vowels, only consonants. Double L,
Double T,
double T, double S, double D. So you have to show all the maximum teams, all the maximum friends to your children, make them repeat, and then go to the words. Now how much time do you need for that? It all depends on the responses of the children of your class. Maybe they learn it so quickly that after 5 minutes you are able to show them a word. Or maybe there are some children who still need more practice. So you can stop, pause, keep repeating it, but don't make it monotonous because monotony causes boredom. And then the children are not interested in listening to you. Okay, then there is a combination C-K. What is the sound of C-K together? This is also a pair, friends. Same as their sound.
and it usually comes at the end of
Or in the middle maybe.
like a chicken.
Chicken is
in the middle
or clock. So there are different positions which you can show through words to your children. And then this last one. Yes. You don't have to articulate G very clearly. Just stop the sound. When you reach the G sound, just stop, block it. Like g. But together they will sound like Can you say it with me? Very slight sound. Don't try to emphasize the sound of G. If it automatically appears, fine. But do not highlight it. Sing. Song, bring. We never say bring, song. It is very stressful for your throat also. So after showing them or making them practice, then you can come to show the words.
So now read these words.
Not like this, children. Raise your hands. Classroom rules.
You said let's read.
Huh?
You said let's read.
Teacher also say let's read, and then the children start reading. All together. And we will talk about all together also. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, please.
First one is
Yes. You should feel the actual puff of sound, the letter P when you say the sound. Say puff on your hand. So this is how you say it. Yeah. The next word. Please.
Good. Egg. Yes.
Egg. Egg. And don't let the child make it longer. It's not egg. Egg. Short sound. Egg. If you're, I think teachers were not there when Sitra had the workshop. The difference between A and E, the sounds of A and E.
is shorter.
Is shorter as well as more friendly. Excuse me. For A, when you say the sound the mouth droops a little. Droops down. And with E, you say just a little spread of the lower lip. Say The next word is, who is going to read? Yes. One more thing about it. When we start a word with the sound, we do aspire. Aspire means we do give a little sound in it. But when this letter or comes at the end of a syllable or of a word, we don't aspire it. We don't need to push in air in it. We will simply say duck. Duck. We will not say duck. Right. The next word is, who will say it? Yes, please. Yes.
What?
Another word? And how you will help the child to blend these sounds?
Letters? What? E. First I will tell them the sound of N, G. Sound N, G like and then I will read out the whole word. Work, E,
Try to blend as many sounds in a word that can be blended to make shorter elements, parts. Ing, I-N-G, ing is very commonly used in English language, in the words. So it's better that you say it like wo, ing, and then gradually wo, ing, wing. And when you start saying a word, you should first stop, take a pause on the initial sound, and then move to the rest of the word, like wing. Don't immediately say wing, say wing, duck, egg, puff. As long as you can stay at the first sound. Then, alternative sound. You know what is alternative?
The options.
Different options, exactly. Another thing, another option, something that you can use in place of one thing. For example, S has the sound. S has the sound. But what about this three-letter word? His. So S is changing its sound. So we need to tell the children when such word comes, not before it. When they see such word and they try to say it like the way they have taught, then tell them, this has become naughty. I need to tell you one more thing about letters, that vowels are naughty, they are tricky. Sometimes consonants also become tricky, sometimes consonants also become naughty, like look at this S. Now it's not behaving, now it's playing naughty, it's changing its sound. Instead of his, this is his. So S is giving the sound of the letter Z. So they become friend-like. G has the sound G. This word, giraffe. Very tricky. Yes, exactly. Have you ever tried to work out these variations? Why a letter is giving a different sound in one word and another in the other word? Or I know that we simply try to call them tricky, but my dears, this is not the case all the time. Sometimes we are trying to trick ourselves, maybe we are not putting in effort. We need to look for the rules. We need to rule out why a certain thing is happening all of a sudden. So as Samara said, that when the letter G is followed by the sound, not the letter sound, sound I or E. Normally these are I and E, but sometimes it's Y also that gives the sound as A, like in gym. So when letter G is followed by the sounds I and E and E, then it gives the sound J.
Not always.
Not always.
Because there's no specific rule for language, no? So when it comes to sounds.
When we say this is the rule, we also say exceptions are also there. Okay? Sometimes maybe G is giving the sound of G, even if there is E or A sound. But look at the word gerund, gym, gymnastics. The sound is not it. The sound is in girl, G-I-R-L. The letter is I, but the sound is not it. That's why we say the sound. So in phonics, we have to focus more on sounds than on letters. Although at the same time, we have to find the relationship also to keep them correlated as well. But sounds, okay? So G-I-R-L, yes, I, but it's girl. So the sound after G is not E or F, right? Then the sound A. Lots of combination of letters that give the sound A. For example, AY, AI, and the split diagram A, E, and then E, I, G, H. So much confusion in English. So we don't have to bring in all this confusion all at once, one by one, right? And letter A itself, as you can see the last word. We tell that it's A. Letter A is A, but here it sounds like A. Apron. It's apron. Acorn. That's not like this. Acorn. So, sorry? Any other word? Now comes the time for the irregular or the exception words. Tricky words, in other words. Some examples of the irregular words. Why do we call them irregular or exception or tricky? Because they're not following any phonics rule. And we need to keep telling our students this thing. When you see, we have been display in the classes all such words, sight words. Sight words are mostly comprised of the list of these kind of words. So the children just have to memorize it. But what mistake we do is that we display all the words together. They are hanging down on one side of the whiteboard because children can see, yes they can see, but they should not see all of them together. Make them see one by one. One word, I will talk about it later also, but this is how we have to do. And I'm going to ask you about the stages that we are doing. What are the different stages? And again, blending and segmenting, but more complex and more longer words, which include more diagrams. Now comes H brothers, then vowel diagrams, then Trigraphs come now after the children are expert in reading the words that include simple digraphs and IGH. This combination gives the sound I. I as in high. Right? So these are different words where you can find this. There are more examples of trigraphs, but usually the words and the sounds that we have selected for the syllabus are those which are the children going to read. There are many more, but we have not included them. So that's why we will not go to any other trigraphs. Consonant clusters are there, blends are there. Consonant cluster is a difficult term, blend is fine. Or that again the team up, the friends. Simple consonant clusters, 2 consonants only, not more than that. Like in these words. Frog, frog, belt, If you can see, I have highlighted these combinations. The combinations which can be dealt with as separate combinations, I have just highlighted them in red so that you know that you can combine these 2 letters or 2 sounds to help the children read them at a time. There, in ORT especially, like frog and frogman, I hope you have come across. The window, these are some common words that are included in their syllabus. So stick to the syllabus. Stick to the words initially which are included in their syllabus when you are introducing. I have underlined, I have divided this longer word. The first word is long one as well as a combination of 2 words. The frog, man. So better you underline one part, you just divide word into parts. Begin with the words that can be divided into 2 at the most, not more than that, because then that will be problematic. Like children, that is, no, children is 2 syllable word. Wallpaper is a very long word, compound word, so it will be divided into many parts. So start with the words that will be divided only in 2 parts. So frog, already learned. Then man, already learned, they know it. So now they're just joining. Frog, man, frog, man, frog, man.
They also told us to find the small letters.
Exactly.
Then they can read that easily.
The next word also, window. OW is a separate combination that we are going to talk about. We have included in the syllabus as well. So all the stages come to an end, and after this we expect the children to read the word independently. How they can read? They should be able to identify single sounds, double sounds, all kinds of sounds. Then they should be able to blend all the sounds and then read. This will bring fluency and accuracy in their reading. Like, show them a word randomly and they should be able to segment and blend it. Segment means parts, blend means bringing those parts together. My bag. The first word was bag. Now we have added one more word to it. It's my. My is another tricky word because Y is changing its sound. Usually when it comes at the end, it gives the sound I. Sometimes it gives it, sometimes it gives I. So we have to keep explaining this to children. So my bag. My bag. As. Has. Again, as is changing the sound. Did you notice? Yes. Two. They already have learned the spelling of 2 in senior Montessori. They can read this word. They should be able to read this word.
My bag has 2 pockets.
Now, pockets is a different word. They have heard of it, but they don't know. They have never seen it. So how are you going to help them read it? But E is not saying the sound A. Which sound is it making here? It. It's making it. So blend like this. Or paw. So that C can make one sound, and that is paw it. Paw it. Paw it. Paw it. Paw it. So at the end they will just blend, and they themselves will tell you that this is the word. One common mistake that we usually do, we are very good at telling individual sounds, but when we are telling the sounds in a word, what we do is that we add in an extra sound. For example, we know that the sound of B is B. But we become so emotional when there is a word in front of us that we start saying it ba. Ba. So then the problem comes. For this extra sound is schwa. I hope most of you are familiar with this term. Schwa. Have you ever heard of it? Yes. Those who don't know, just to tell you, schwa is a sound. It is a separate sound in the IPA, which is right? And normally we use it with the words that cannot be blocked in our mouth, that has to go out like g, d, b. But with f, m, s, we are not going to say f, s. They are wrong. So here the schwa is unnecessary, not required. We simply say for f. We simply say not s. So this will become more even clearer when I show you this word. Sometimes we forget about it. We are human beings. I also forget lots of times that I don't have to say sma, m. We know that this mum. Now when I said ma, it was M and U, not the sound of M, right?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, but could you explain again what you said about schwa, because I couldn't understand.
Schwa. This sound is called schwa.
UH is
Yes, The pronunciation of this letter U and H is Normally we introduce or include schwa when it's a longer word and we need to end it. For example, father. So the last syllable has the shortest vowel sound. It's not it's not it's just short, father. So there we are including this schwa sound. The mistake with the letter sounds we do is that we add this sound at the end of the, or with some letters. Then it becomes like for the sound of the letter V, we would say V. Now, V is not the sound, or the sound of Y, Y. It's sh. So every letter which you can stop, the sound of the letter can be stopped without letting it out in that is. I hope it's clear to everybody. If it's not clear, you can keep asking me, but I will complete my lesson. Okay, then there are some tips to speed up the reading. These tips include all the stages that we have just gone through. I am doing this with you because this is really very important to know that how to move from one stage to another. Otherwise, we can't plan our lessons. one of the, when all the stages are complete and the children are able to read the word independently by themselves, then we can give them tips that, okay, or not give them tips, but you know that you have to help them out learn the tricky words, because most of the tricky words at this stage, at this level, class level, are high frequency words also. I hope you know the difference between tricky words and high frequency words. Any idea? Tricky words not following the phonics. High frequency words also do not follow phonics many times, not all the time, many times, but since we are dealing with advanced Montessori students, so they don't have a vast exposure. That's why we will simply tell them these are tricky words, or we know that these are high frequency words also, right? So we will introduce them one by one as I told, like a, this, how, that, and so on. The list of such words is mentioned in the syllabus. Picture books or pictures, very important to introduce or to help the child get, because when we are doing stories, there come so many words which are new to the children. The problem starts then, because we want them to read out even ORT. If we don't show them the sight words, they will not be able to read them by themselves. So pictures are very helpful. Although when we need the children to be fluent in reading, we have to gradually remove the pictures. Introduce a concept with picture, then start showing them off and on, and then just remove the picture. But if such word comes which you think that they have not come across it earlier, or they don't know the meaning of that word, then you can show the picture. If it's a concrete noun. For abstract, definitely you can't, like honor or truth, you cannot show them the picture. Or big. If you show an elephant, fine. If the child says it's a small thing, because he can't see it. So any picture that you show should relate to their knowledge that they have seen already. Reading comprehension. By comprehension, what is the meaning of comprehension?
To understand.
Understanding. Comprehension means understanding. Now by reading comprehension, I do not mean at all that you give them long paragraphs or text and then start asking questions. This is on your part. You need to assess. Are the children able to read, and are they understanding also what they are reading? And how can you know this? You have to assess them. So ask questions. Asking questions is very important. Okay, so this is all for the phonics thing. And why are we doing it now? Can you quickly recap what we just talked about? One person stands and tells me all the things. We talked about letters, the sounds, then terms, then the stages, then the tapes, and there we are now. How should we start helping the child to read? What do you think? Letter sounds. And then repetition is very important, and individual responses. Altogether repetition is fine, but individual responses. Then combination of the sounds. Blending, yes. Combination, blending, segmenting, all going from simple to complicated combinations. Right? From 2 letters to 3 letters to 4 letters, so that the child can easily join all the sounds. And then alternative sounds. They are also very important. Then
Diagram.
yes. And then comes the even more complex stage of reading where the children have really to work very hard to read the given text or the words. But only reading is not enough, they should be able to understand it also. Okay, hope you all have got this phonics syllabus with you. And I told you that we have selected all the sounds and most of the words from the books that the children will read, or previously in earlier years they have been reading. We have taken help from the Jolly Phonics because they have divided the letters into groups. Then OME, which is the textbook. Now they have started again. Previously, for 3-4 years we were doing it.
Yes.
Now again we have included that OME textbook. And then ORT, the readers, and the e-book. It is really very good. It has so many concepts of sound. So we have even mentioned the pages from which we have taken these specific sounds or group of sounds. If you look at, there are 3 columns. The first column tells the week number, then which sounds will be done in that week. And then very little details. The details only tell you from where you can find the reference. And this is not the only reference. Of course, you are all talented and I know you all plan also. So you can look for other sources also. If you look at these combinations, in the first week, we have simple sounds. And in the second group, a little difficult, in which lots of parts of the mouth are involved, which are who said her? Who said her? It's, you should feel the air on your hand, like P ki tarah, H ki sound. Should feel the air on your hand. It's not R. And then other sounds. I'm not going to talk about every single sound because these are all the sounds that the children have done in a sequence till senior Montessori. Now we have just taken out the groups. These are the groups that are used in Jolly Phonics. If you try to understand or figure out why have they separated the sounds in groups like this, then look at the first group. What I have assessed is that you can make lots of words from these 6 letters. Right? If you start with the second group, which is C, K, E, H, R, N, D, there are less options for the children to make words. But in the first group of week 1, there are plenty of words that a child can make. So just to give a broader idea to the children and to make them confident, because if you give difficult thing in the beginning and the child is not able to make one word, or suppose 3-4 children made some word, but rest of the children they will get lost. So it's better to give such thing that all children can participate in. That will build up their confidence as well. I have just made a sample lesson plan for you. What do you think with this combination of letters? What should be your objective? This is one day, because there is one period in 1 week. These are all the sounds that children have already done. First 4 weeks are the revision of all these sounds. Now it's in your hands how you do the revision. I have my own lesson plan. I want to know your lesson plan. If you're dealing with all these 7 sounds, there are 7 sounds in week 2. What should be the objective? Look at the sounds carefully and then tell me. It's already 1 hour gone. Let's be quick. First, focus on the objective. Why are we going to conduct this class? What shall we achieve at the end of this class?
The child should be able to recognize the sound and pronounce self-problem.
Sorry?
The child should be able to recognize the sound and
Exactly.
pronounce
The first thing is that he should be able to recognize.
To learn the phonics of the word.
They have already learned. This is the revision. So they should be able to learn the words, recall the sound. Sorry? Make new words. See, you can do so many things. Exactly. Please say it loud.
One object is this: if you show them the word, the children are able to recognize the particular or the given sound.
Exactly. They should be able to, yes, identify the same thing that we did at the end of the stages. Identify, blend, and read.
Sound out the letter.
Exactly. Sound out the letters correctly.
Then they'll be able to read the middle sound now because they were doing it. They were reading the beginning sound.
Okay, when you say they should be able to read the middle sound or identify the middle sound, then you have a whole list of those words in which you feel that these sounds are going to be in the middle. These sounds. Right? Because our focus has to be these sounds of the week. And do not directly jump onto difficult words. So first of all, proper points of articulation. By points of articulation we mean, like in Arabic it's makharij. That which parts of the mouth are being used in producing a specific sound. We don't expect anybody to know the exact points because there are so many different difficult terms for the articulation of sounds like glottis and epiglottis and I don't know how many. So we can only tell them that your whole mouth is very important. Very important. Every part of your mouth is going to participate in saying the sounds. Tip of the tongue, your teeth, back side of your tongue. We can't say the root of the tongue because then they are going to visualize it. How can we have root in our throat? Or then the roof, not the ceiling. Okay, roof of your mouth, not the palate, because palate is going to be a little difficult. If your children understand, then use it. Otherwise, don't go into difficult terms with your child. Then since we are specifically referring to week 2, the first 2 letters are C and K. So, they already have done it. So, our one objective can be that they should be able to recall that C and K have the same sound. Right? Same sounds. D. They should be able to pronounce D correctly as a voiced syllable. Do you know what is a voiced syllable and what is the opposite of voiced? Unvoiced. So we have 2 types of voices. Voiced and unvoiced. How do we know that a specific letter is voiced? Like if D is voiced, how? Can you explain it to the children? Say D. Now say D, T. They both have the same point of articulation. Your tongue is touching the roof, the palate. D, T. But still the sounds are different. Why? Because you are using your throat also. In saying D, put your finger on your throat and say D. D. Say it correctly so that you can feel. Can you see the vibration here? Yes. Now keep it here and say T. Can you feel any vibration? No, no vibration. It means that T is unvoiced and D, which has vibration, is voiced. Same goes for K and G. Say K. No vibration. It is unvoiced. Now say g, g, vibration. So g is voiced and k is unvoiced. When all the sounds are said without unnecessary inclusion of the sound sh. Sh is there, like in d, g. It is there, but not with other letters which do not require this sound added to them. Then, if you give them a word and put these sounds at different positions, like some sound at the beginning, some sound in the middle, some at the end, and you ask them, this is a word, can you find me the sound d? And they should be able to identify. Right? And then they should be able to, as we already discussed, that they should be able to read and tell all or maximum vocabulary of that particular sound. So how are you going to conduct this lesson in the class? There are 7 sounds which you need to revise in one period of 40 minutes, in which first 5 minutes usually are wasted in settling the students, and the last 5 minutes are also wasted in winding up. So you have practically 30 minutes. So how are you going to do this whole thing, all 7 sounds in 30 minutes? First of all the resource material must be ready. You should not start looking for your AV8s, that I have all the AV8s. Definitely we all have the AV8s. But referring to specific day lesson plan, we should segregate them. When we are leaving the previous day, before leaving home, one day earlier, you have to take out all the AV8s, make sets and put them separately. Just take it out and start showing. This will reduce the wastage of time, right? So one important thing, as I said earlier, that show pictures of a specific word that is in your mind, or not in mind, in your plan, and ask the children to guess. Start with the familiar thing. Always start with the familiar thing so that they can easily decode, they can easily understand and explain. And then tell them to tell the beginning sound, sorry?
We can also show real objects.
Real objects. Real objects, realia is very important. Flashcards, pictures, they are fine. I always tell the teachers that pictures are in the books already. They are bored of it. Do something different, model. By model we don't mean to bring in 7D models, but you can bring in simple models using chart paper or Phonics sheet. Just give it a 3D effect by stuffing in different crumbled paper, or
you can show the key, the curve key, and real objects here.
exactly. Anything that you can easily bring, start with that, real objects, and then ask them the word. After the picture, then show the word. First show the picture, take the name, take the beginning sound, then show the word. And then ask them to blend, segment, read. Also, if there are
2-letter word families,
or any combination that you can show as separate group, as we have already discussed, then use that technique. That they should, for blending, it will be easier for them. Longer words, if you come across such words, then they will be divided into parts, depending upon the length. Syllables. I have written syllables. I hope you all know what is a syllable. Yes. Can anyone tell me what is a syllable? Raise your hand.
One vowel in one break.
One vowel in one break. Okay. Okay, I got your point. Means that
Divide the word. learn easily.
No, but what is a syllable? When you divide a word in syllable, then you should make sure that every part has a vowel sound. Every part has one vowel sound. So one vowel sound in a part is a syllable. But sometimes if you don't find it easy to divide a word in syllables, then you can simply divide it in parts. Parts. It's your choice. Because we are not going to be very technical people. We just want our children to learn reading. That's it. And then choose lots of words. As I said, start with the familiar ones, then start adding in more words, then difficult words, and then sentence. The sentence is going to come at the very, very end of all the learning process, not now. This is just a sample for the overall syllabus of phonics, not for this particular group. This very important thing has to be included in your methodology, that collective drill, practice, important. But after you are done with practice for 2 minutes, say 2 minutes, then start taking individual responses. Just don't rely on the collective, because some children are speaking, some children are sitting quiet, and some children are speaking but wrongly. It happens. Like the poem Jelly and Jam. My daughter used to say it wrongly, and I kept trying to correct it. Jelliyam. She used to say Jelliyam jam, although it's jelly and jam. Right? So you have to look how the children are saying a specific word and point out, not point out the child, point out the mistake, but keep repeating it yourself without saying, you are saying it wrongly. No, look at me. Just say, look everybody look at my mouth, how I'm saying. After that comes ORT or picture or a storybook, any article. Article means, as we are using the newspaper, the children's portion of the newspaper, or any typed text that you can do it yourself, etc., etc. This will be used for further practice in the methodology. For further practice of sounds. Because now we are moving from words to sentences. We are moving from words to sentences. So and so activity must include one activity. Only one activity. Don't go for plenty of activities. But if you have 4 or 5 activities, then make groups in a class and divide one activity per group so that they can do it and you can know if they are understanding or not, because activities enhance interest and the learning process. Then on-spot evaluation. You are done with the practice, you are done with all their responses, and now you have to check if they have learned what you were planning, what you were teaching them. For that also you can use different things like flashcards, words, whatever you feel that they are, or if you felt during the practice and the individual responses that the response for specific words or sentences is not as good. So you may include those things at the end of the lesson of the day to make sure that they learn it before they leave. Then comes audiovisual aids, ABAs. The column for ABAs in planner is before the methodology. But maybe it's because of the space or whatever. You cannot decide which ABAs you are going to use unless you are sure what are you going to do. Right? So after objectives, the next thing comes methodology. That these are my objectives, this is what I'm going to do in the class, and to do this and this and this, I need these things. Right? So then you write down the ABAs. So which ABAs would you require? Flashcards, pictures, real objects, storybook. If you have planned to show a storybook, if you have planned to show just picture, write only picture. If you have planned to show a storybook, write only storybook. Only 2 pages of the storybook? Write down that these pages of the storybook will be utilized as the AVAs, a big picture or individual set of pictures that you will distribute in the class. So mention everything very clearly. The most important and the most neglected part of the lesson plan. A lesson plan can never be complete without evaluation. What is the meaning of evaluation? Concisely speaking, it means assessment, a review. Review of what? Assessment of what? Sorry? What we have done.
What the students have learned from the
So how would you write the evaluation for this whole that we've just done?
That a teacher has achieved that goal or not, whatever she has written.
Has she, attained what she has planned?
Exactly.
Students learning
What she
objectives.
was expecting from the lesson, the outcome, has it been achieved or not? So my next question is, what evaluation would you do for this whole class, this combination of sounds?
Maybe the child has learned the individual sound, but the blending needs more practice. One time check them individually.
Maybe. Any other?
Maybe whatever techniques the teacher has used, maybe that was successful or not.
Or not? Maybe new techniques have to be used? The easiest way to write down the evaluation is simply convert every objective into a question. Every objective into a question. For example, do all the children enable the children to segment and blend? Suppose we have all the new children, because this is going for the first time in advanced Montessori. Our assumption is that the children coming from our system, they already have done 2 letter word families. What about those students who have not, who are from different systems? So for that, we have to use 2 ways. First, we will divide into individual sounds. Cat. And then we can add, cat, right? Again, एक तो फ बोल रहे ऊपर से फ बोल रहे it's just a puff of air by blocking the letter P in your lips. So it's or corn. This is a little tricky because children have not learned or. They have not learned. So you have to introduce. There has to be a point where you have to introduce something that you have not planned, at least for a while. But you have to help out. The child has to read, so make him read. Help him read. How? Start with separate sounds. But then tell them, what about joining 2 sounds together? Will be easy. Then corn, right? Just to add that there are words which are where R, the letter R is there, but we don't say the sound of R. We will include this in the second term, so be prepared. Try to start studying about it. The R-controlled words. R-controlled words, it's going to be added in the second term syllabus. Okay, now what is this? Now all these letters go in the same way of this group, right? Keep doing the same way, practice, show the pictures, and involve the children, but using correct sound. Okay, this is elbow. A little longer one. This is the body part. Body parts are already done since the beginning of their junior Montessori, so they know where is elbow. Maybe this is the first time they are looking at the word, so help them. Help them. How will you divide it? In how many parts? Two. Elbow. 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 So now the child knows that how elbow is written. 10. The letter is E. We started with the words that have the beginning sound E. Now we have added a word in which E is not in the beginning, it's in the middle. 10. Or N. 10. So all types of students that who are present in your class, either they have done the two-word family or they have not. If you keep switching from one way to another, they will be able to read it. All is required is practice. So these are all the letters and words. Car. Here the sound of letter A is different. But since this word or this thing is a common thing and you want to show the word to them, you can. But again, you will have to explain. I have included this word specifically so just to tell you that if you are including this word, then you should be able to make it clear to the students that A has a different sound here. If you think they are ready to accept and understand that, include it. If you think they are not ready yet, do not include such words in which the letter is changing its sound. Jam. The same method of blending and segmenting. Ow. And other combination of vowels that give the same sound, ow, is O, W. So O-W, as we talk, two sounds, O and ow. As in, ow. Brown. That's it, almost. Week 19. So last 2 weeks have been kept for the revision of all the concepts. You can see that we have put lots of revision after every 4 weeks or 5 weeks because revision is very important. If we really want the children to be independent readers, then we have to do this. So we have divided revision in 2 parts. Week 1 to week 8 will be the first revision. Follow the same procedure, add in different words. But at this time, children would be very proficient. So you can show them sentences, simple sentences, 3-word sentences, 4-word sentences. They can easily read them. And then the second part, the revision will be done after week 10 to 18. And that will be the end of it. Other than this, we have also included, if you turn over the pages, there are tricky words. Tricky words. A whole list is there, 1 word per week. 1 word per week. But remember, this is not the part of the phonics period. You can revise it, reinforce it in phonics period, but whenever in a day you find a time, just make the children practice or repeat the tricky word. The first word is I. It's a letter I, but it's used for the person himself or herself. I. The second word is the or the. Actually, the exact correct word is the, But since in the sentences we do not normally use these, so we say the. Then he, she, and every week you not just have to introduce a new tricky word, but you have to revise the previous ones also. So you have to plan every day, now onwards every day. Either you add it in your English reading period, either you add it in your news period. Yes. Right? News period, whenever you can do that. Hardly, for the first word and for the first 4 or 5 words, you will not require more than 10 minutes a day. So you can even divide those 10 minutes. Maybe one word is practiced in the morning, the other word is practiced before the break or after the break, and one in the last period. So you can divide it. And if you want to include in the phonics period also, you feel that the time has left, so you can do it then also. Normally, Q, the sound of Q is just like, but you must have noticed that in any word, either Q comes in the beginning or in the middle or in the end, it is always followed by the letter U. U is always there. They are best friends. They are not going to leave each other. So, the sound can be like in check. Yes, it comes in the end. C-H-E-Q-U-E. So that is check. And if it comes in the beginning, then it's going to be like in queen. But don't say it qua. It's not qua. It's qua. A little short at the end. Qua. And then queen. Okay. Then there are other sounds which may come across, which you may come across during the reading, like this combination, O, I. You don't have to ignore it. When a child reads it, you show some word and that word has this combination, then tell them then and there. O, I gives the sound oi. Oi. It's a diagram. Oi. Oi. Like this. Like oil. Oil. The mistake that people normally do is that they start saying it like oi, which is very difficult. Oi. I have heard people saying words like that. So don't say like toy. It's boy. Oil. It's not oil. Then this combination, what is the sound of? What do they make? Which sound do they make? You. Or sometimes oo. Oo, you. Blue. True. This is you. And sometimes this also is the sound oo. Now you have to identify which word has the sound oo with EW and which word has the sound U. Tell me, which sound is it? Even if you know the sounds, even if you're confident that I know the sounds, consult a dictionary. Before getting any word done in the class, consult a dictionary. Maybe it's wrong. So it's chew. Chew the food with your mouth closed. Chew. Blue. This rhymes with the color blue. Okay? The second form of blow is blue, not blue. It's not blue. Blue. This is These are also very frequent. They are very frequent in words. That's why you should practice these sounds also. And then tricky words, we have talked about them. 1 word a week, then the next, and then include the previous ones done. Finally, we are done. Thank you.
children.
one sound. So we are not going to show them all together. First we have to make them practice. We just have to tell them that when these come together,
The sounds will be
they give a different sound. One sound, but it will be different. Like the letters or the sounds are and but h and h, they are gone. Now we have a new sound, one sound. Just like the letter F. Similarly, and when they join, they give a new sound. Not ch, it's ch.
And the same goes for WH.
Yes, same goes.
What?
Like what. But they are joining together. W is making the H silent. It's dominating because there are stories also for these words. We can dig out some stories. The W is very bossy. He is making the letter H silent and he is saying W. So in W, we are hearing and saying the sound of the letter which is there, but it's one. Again one. The sound has to be one. Either it's a different new sound or either it's the same sound of one of the letters.
But if you have any questions, please ask now. Because lots of us are still, as you said,
Many people will say after. Seriously. Always is always. And call is call. Call is
One
call.
is a flower. There's a flower. There's a
Yes.
flower
No,
and
this is a
flower.
trick sound. Flower is flower. Vowel. Vowel is also said wrongly. We say vowel. Vowel is wrong word. Vowel. You're not going to touch. Tower. You have to slide. Slide. How you slide? You start from the bottom, go up and come down. So 3 movements. Remember, in this way, then I hope you can retain 3 movements. Slide, go up and come back. Flower and hour. Right?
All those
vowel.
are sound at the end. We have to pronounce them separately, like plow,
Not just ER but EL also, like it's towel. It's not towel. People say towel.
Towel.
It's towel.
shower.
Exactly, shower. And when it stops, wherever the butterfly stops, the child has to read those words.
there are lots of such visual aids available also.
G.
And teachers can make them too.
Yes, my teacher has made it with the and reading stories, sort of things, pictures. So the children love to do this. Even we like to read the books which have pictures and especially which just pop out or which have this sensory effect. So this is just about a cat who's saying good night to different animals, and what she is doing is that she is just moving around. Pictures should be big enough that everybody can see. Okay, it's night time, it's time to sleep, but the cat is out. The cat is out. She wants to say good night to every animal. She is such a caring and a friendly cat. So, what is it? It's night. The moon is up. The moon is up. The stars. There are stars also. The stars shine bright. The stars shine bright. What time is it? It's night time. And what is it? The moon is up and the stars shine bright. Off goes cat. Off goes cat to say good night. Off goes cat to say good night. Now, where is she going off and to whom is she going to say good night? Let's find out. So first she goes in the garden. Out. First word is out. Now reinforcement of the sounds. O-U, out. Out in the garden. All alone. Alone. O sound? Who's that? guarding a juicy bone? Who's that? Guarding a juicy bone? It's a dog. It's a dog. It has a name also. Can you look at the kennel? Kennel. Its name is written. Can you read it? Jack. Jack. So the dog is Jack and the cat is saying, good night, dog. And the dog says, woof, woof, woof. Next. Look. Short O sound. Look. By the trees. If you notice, then all the sounds are being repeated here. By, sound of I. The trees, double E. It's the clever, E-R-A, fox. By the trees, it's the clever fox. With his bushy red tail. With his bushy red tail and his neat little socks. And his neat little socks. And the cat says, good night, fox. The cat says, good night, fox. And the fox said, yep, yep, yep. So if there are sounds, you have to produce six sounds the way they should be. This is a whole book, and all the animals.
It's a nice one.
So such books are very good for children to practice the sound. Do you see what's there in this thank you?
Thank you.
Below these thank you. Light. I hope we enlightened each other today. Thanks a lot.